We have a proclamation first from Miami-Dade County. Commissioner Cava, please come on up. Big round of applause for Commissioner Cava, please. And members, board members from Cosmos, some of you, please come on up and help with the recognition. One more time, Commissioner Cava, Miami-Dade County Commission. Okay, you're welcome. Yes, I'm gonna move this. You want to hold it? Is this fine?
This is good, yeah.
Okay, all right.
So good evening, everybody. What a privilege, what an honor to be with you for this great occasion, honoring some of our community's finest leaders on behalf of Cosmos, which is a great unifying force. So it's a pleasure once again to be, which is all about community bridge building, bringing together people across faiths, of all communities, Christians, Jews, Muslims together, building a stronger. So critical the role that Cosmos plays in educating all of us, the work that Muslims are doing right here in South Florida, not despite their faith, but because of their faith. Faith-motivated, unifying work. That's the great work of Cosmos. So I'd like to have you join with me in presenting this award. It is the 8th Cosmos Annual Community Recognition Ceremony Day. 8. Wow. Congratulations. And I'll just read a few of the words here in the proclamation. As the gateway of the Americas, Miami-Dade strives to acknowledge the achievements made by individuals, organizations, and initiatives which personify our multicultural diversity and contribute to our society. And I know that this is a Miami-Dade County proclamation, but perhaps we could have Broward join with us as well. I know we're well represented. I don't mind sharing. Cosmos, Coalition of South Florida Muslim Organizations, has worked towards outreach and bridge building with a variety of community partners since its founding. And by recognizing outstanding citizens in our community who have promoted peace, tolerance, and understanding, Cosmos has helped bring awareness to the continuous adversities Muslims have had to face. And Cosmos has paved the way for other community partners and continue to be committed to reaching higher goals in an attempt to eradicate bigotry, hate, and xenophobia. So let it be so. That's what I have to say, let it be so. And so by the power invested in me as a county commissioner, on behalf of Mayor Carlos Jimenez, Chairman Esteban Bovo, and the entire Miami-Dade County Commission, today is 8th Cosmos Annual Community Recognition Ceremony Day. Thank you very much and congratulations, Cosmos.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't mind standing right here, probably it's better in terms of, let me get that from you. Yeah, take one more photo in front, yeah.
One more special recognition that it is my honor, but also my disappointment to bring. So you're going to maybe hear it here first, but Director General Philip Wang of Taiwan is going to be leaving our community very soon. And I must say, I deeply regret it. I have been the fortunate beneficiary of some wonderful occasions in his beautiful home, wonderful meals, sharing the good news about Taiwan. He is the Director General of the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office. He's done an outstanding job, and I'd like to welcome up Mr. Christopher Ho and Renee Diaz from our Community Relations Board in Miami-Dade County to bestow this Distinguished Visitor Award to Philip T.Y. Wang. Thank you so very, very much, Mr. Wang.
All right, Commissioner Cava, we're going to have you. Okay.
I'm so sorry. Don't go.
I'll be back.
You'll be back? Okay, he promises to be back.
Well, she was just on stage. I'll have her come on back up. Tessin Siddiqui. She is a physician's assistant. She's also the president of NUR, the NUR Center. It's a shelter for domestic violence victims. And she's also one of the main organizers of this brilliant dinner that we're having tonight. A big round of applause for Tessin, please. Come on, guys.
Good evening. Thank you, Calvin. I'm not the only main organizer. We all work together, all the Cosmos teams, so we have to thank all of them. It's my pleasure to be here today. Good evening and assalamu alaikum. Now I'm going to go back to the script. On behalf of Cosmos and rest of South Florida Muslim community, it is my privilege to welcome you tonight to 8th Annual Community Appreciation Dinner. It's been 8 years that we've been here. Here in South Florida, we are fortunate to live in a very embracing community. Just look around yourself. You will find prominent political and community leaders, media icons, and dedicated members of law enforcement. Additionally, we have also diplomats that are attending tonight to express their unity and solidarity with Cosmos. And we thank them for being here tonight. It's Oscar's night too, so. Cosmos started with a simple purpose, to tell the American Muslim narrative. Our narrative is simple. We stand together against the hatred and the polarization. Our focus is to foster a better understanding of Islam, Muslim cultures, and American Muslims through engagement, education, outreach, and community service with and for South Florida community. Cosmos is proud of its alliances in the community. In education, we partner with Miami-Dade College for Islam Today series, with Florida International University for its global vision of Muslim World Series. We share the commitment against the intolerance with American Jewish Committee and Anti-Defamation League, and build bridges with organizations such as MCCJ, local churches, and synagogues for their compassion and love for community. Throughout the last year, Cosmos initiated and participated in numerous programs to further its mission. In these troubled times, when according to the Pew Research, which came out last year, over 75% of Muslim Americans feel threatened and not welcome in the United States, where xenophobia is at its height. Many are paving the way to advance their agenda of hatred and mistrust. Cosmos is here. Cosmos is reaching out to you and to the rest of the community. We urge you to join us in our mission and collaborate with us. I personally urge you to come from a place of love and compassion so we may collectively heal the ones that are suffering today in our communities and empower our communities. With that, now I would like to ask Mr. Mohammed Shakir to come and join me on this stage for a special recognition. Thank you again, and have a good evening.
Good evening and Assalamu alaikum. I have the responsibility to share a celebrated life with you tonight. Khalid Salahuddin an imam, an interfaith ambassador, a successful professional, and a dear friend, departed us on June 2nd, 2017. And Muhammad Ali were reverting back to Islam that Muhammad brought to the world that still shines for the last 1400 years, the real Islam. The inspiration he got from the newest faith enlightened his life, and he turned around and enlightened the lives of his family, his friends, and anyone who touched him during his lifetime. Khalid was a pillar of South Florida Muslim community, an integral part of Cosmos during his entire life and in the last 10 years that we have been working on Cosmos. He passed it on to his family, friends, and all those who touched him. Khalid was a pillar of South Florida Muslim community, a pioneer, a visionary, and a kind and generous man. To his children who are here in the audience and to his friends, we'll miss him, but we don't mourn him. We celebrate his life, a very shining life that we can reflect upon for rest. And in the end we say, قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ, and to those who come from God and to return back to God. Khalid is in the good embrace of his Creator, and we also celebrate that. Thank you.
Khalid was a friend of mine as well, and it's strange not having him here. He's a great man. And I enjoyed saying his last name, Salahuddin. It made me look smart, so you don't have to laugh at my jokes. That's fine. It was funny to me, so it's trying to bring lightness to a very sad moment. But this is okay. My good friend is going to come up, and we're going to begin the first award presentation for tonight. We have, I believe, 3 awards that we're going to be giving out tonight. And Shabir is going to begin the first one. He is a member of Cosmos, and he's pretty relentless. He's pretty relentless. He's the reason why, one of the big reasons why I'm here. Not to mention I believe in your mission, but besides Shabir, Shabir has never met an email that he didn't like, brother. He will be on you. He will be on you. Those who know him know exactly what I'm talking about. He's never met a keyboard that he didn't like. He will be on you. But his relentlessness has paid off, so thank you. He's been a dear friend, and he even calls and checks on me, and I check on him. So Shabir Motawala, come on up, my man. First award to Mindy Marquez.
I think everybody can hear me. Assalamu alaikum. Before I go on my script about Mindy, why we are honoring Mindy, I just want to go a little bit off script. And I want to say how the times have changed. I think if you look around, I think FBI sitting among Muslims, and this Mr. Lesky and Jeff and Zenthi, this comes from the heart. And I'm sincere, not because you're sitting on my table, sincerity, that despite our differences and despite the different prism we use for the same issue, we want to thank you for your services. Something other people won't say, but we will. We appreciate your hard work. Keep our community safe, our people safe, our country safe. Keep up the good work. And now let me come back. And by the way, I want to say something. Everybody heard MAGA, hashtag MAGA. I have my own hashtag MAGA. That stands for Muslim Americans Great Always. So that's my hashtag, and I don't think that will be appreciated in Washington. Let me come back why I'm here. I'm here to honor somebody, to introduce somebody whose job is to introduce everybody else, Mindy Marcus, and why we decided to honor Mindy. First of all, we tried to honor Mindy because Miami Herald missed the most prestigious presidential award of fake news. So we decided we will honor for the real news. About 15 years ago when I met Miami Herald, and it's a true story, a lot of editors, a lot of reporters, a lot of writers, they didn't even know how to spell Muslim. They used to spell M-O-S-L-E-M. Muslim, not Muslim. We met with Miami Herald. To their credit, they invited us. They had a dialogue, and they asked, we are going to build a bridge with the Muslim community. We want to understand what Islam is. We want to understand what Muslims are. And that was the beginning of our foundation to build the bridges. And over the time, that foundation has continued. And today, under the leadership of Mindy Marcus at Miami Herald and other people, that understanding, that building the bridge of tolerance to fight bigotry against Muslim, Miami Herald does a fantastic job. And because of her job of building the bridges to fight bigotry against Muslim, Cosmos decided to honor Mindy Marcus of Miami Herald. It is my great pleasure and honor to ask Mindy to join me on the stage to accept the award on behalf of Cosmos.
Thank you so much. And yes, Shabir, he gets his emails read, that's for sure, I'll say that. And we appreciate that. It's been said that a well-informed citizenry is the best defense against tyranny. And I will also add that it's the best defense against bigotry and racism as well. And yet at no time during our recent history has the press been under such fierce attack with cries of fake news in the face of uncomfortable facts. We've seen how easy it is to stoke hatred and division through the lens of stereotypes that attack the foundational strengths of our country. But those stereotypes fall apart at a gathering such as this, where we break bread together to toast to our common humanity. And they fall apart when we're able to hear the stories of individual struggles and successes, regardless of background. That is our task as journalists, to continue to inform, to provide vital information that helps the public play its role in our government. A holiday greeting card from a journalism school put it succinctly: just because our job has gotten tougher doesn't mean we stop, and we're not stopping. It is my hope that through our day-to-day coverage of the Miami Herald and El Nuevo Herald, that we'll continue to serve you as a vital part of our democracy. Thank you very much.
A man who really needs no introduction. He has a special announcement tonight. He oversees one of the largest college institutions and campuses in America, and is right in our own backyard. Again, he needs no introduction. The president, though, of Florida International University, Dr. Mark Rosenberg.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for that very warm introduction, Calvin. Thank you so much. And congratulations to the honorees this evening. Mindy, you do heroic work, you and your team. It's hard these days, but we appreciate it. And then Dan Alvarez, one of our very own at FIU, who tilts against windmills and does a great job. So, Professor, thank you so much. And I want to thank my entire team from FIU who was here. So when I became president, I was asked about what was the style that I had. And I answered in this way because I think that today that is more, it's even more important. That if you give me a pile of stones, my responsibility and the responsibility of my colleagues at FIU with that pile of stones is to build a bridge, not a wall, ladies and gentlemen. And now more than ever, we need those bridges. Now more than ever, as Commissioner Levine said, we have to find ways to reach out. Now more than ever, we have to understand that we have to use the positive weapons of discourse, of collaboration, of relationship building, of love, now more than ever, to make sure that we come together to do the great things that our gods. Little did I understand that that recognition was actually a challenge to me from the Cosmos leadership to find a way for FIU to do more, ladies and gentlemen. And so with my colleagues, and they're here tonight, we've found a way to do more. And with a number of you in the community, we have found a way to do more, because I am here this evening not just to recognize the honorees and not just to be with my brothers and sisters in Cosmos, but to announce to you that we are, as of today, formally creating a Center for Muslim World Studies, and that center has been accelerated, has benefited from a major donation of $2 million from Dr. Mohsen and Fauzia Jaffer. So we're very excited about this. We're very excited about this gift, because this gift enables us to, through our School of International and Public Affairs, do the bridge building, do the exploration, do the partnership development, do the knowledge sharing that is going to be so critical if we're going to have the love and the comity and the collaboration that we know that we so desperately need for this 21st century. So Dr. Jaffer, would you please come up, share a few words with us? We're so grateful for your leadership and for the support of so many others who are here this evening.
I'll start by thanking this loving Creator who is so merciful and so kind, because He has given us the ability to be in this greatest country in the world with the potential of doing so much good. And I want to thank the Muslim community, and especially one of their partners, Cosmos, which made an effort to build bridges. And I want to thank Dr. Rosenberg for taking up the challenge and saying, yes, 1/4 of our humanity are Muslims. They have a rich culture, history, science, music, and a lot they have done. They've contributed, besides the faith, what it has done to the world. And today we must recognize this 1/4, talk about them, learn about them, because the whole mission of FIU is knowledge. If we know each other, we can build bridges. If we don't know each other, we will be the other. We are one, we share this planet, we share this country together. Let's invite the whole world to come to FIU and learn about Islam and Muslims. Thank you, FIU. God bless you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
If you all, the graduates of FIU, don't think that he's fighting for you, during my newscast, he will text me and say, you highlighted something that UM did, but FIU did something as well. So he will text me, especially for sports. Doesn't matter if we say something good about UM. He's fighting for FIU. He will text me. So every year my phone going off, it's Dr. Rosenberg doing the newscast. But we have some great hires too from FIU. The president of my TV station is an FIU graduate, the first Cuban American to be over an English-speaking TV station. Bert Medina, proud FIU grad. Carlos Suarez, proud FIU grad. So thank you very much. And now we have our second awardee tonight, but to do the honors for that, he is an engineer by trade. He is the president of the American Turkish Foundation and a proud member of Cosmos, Mehmet Uludes. Come on up, Mehmet. Come on, guys. Big round of applause as he comes on up. Yes. Yes, sir.
Good evening. Assalamu alaikum. Professor Daniel Alvarez is a Stetson University graduate with a degree in history. He holds 2 master's degrees from Harvard University on theology and philosophy. He was raised as a fundamentalist Christian, which shaped his lifelong interest in the varieties of religious fundamentalism. Buddhism and Islam are the other religions that he has exercised his faculties and produced academic results. Luther, Kant, Edwards, Quine, and Putnam are among the particular influences on his theological thinking and development. Since 1995, he is an FIU faculty as a senior instructor in the Department of Religious Studies. His research interests have been focused on Christian theology and world religions. He teaches seminars and gives lectures on major Western philosophers such as Kant, Hegel, Nietzsche, Husserl, and Heidegger. He published work focusing on interfaith dialogue and comparative worldviews. He moderated panel discussions and forums on interfaith dialogue. He has either co-hosted programs or has given interviews on TV and radio. He has been on Voice of America, CNN, BBC, WLRN, NPR, Telemundo, Univision, and you name it, and to voice his opinion and expertise on world religions. Since 2014, Professor Alvarez has played a key role in the effort to create Muslim World Studies Center at FIU, then as a director and now as an associate director. When I first got assigned to introduce Danielle, I asked my wife what she thinks about him. As we all know, women are excellent at judging a character, right? And my wife met him 2 years ago at another Cosmos dinner event, and she told me, and I quote, she's here, "He's a genuine person and a good man, and he loves to eat bread." I told her that he must have some Turkish in him because we Turks do not start eating until there is bread on the table. Ladies and gentlemen, without great honor and pleasure, I would like this compassionate, altruistic, savant, outstanding academic, genuine person and good man, like my wife says, Professor Daniel Alvarez, come to the stage to accept his award.
Wow, thank you. Thank you very much, Cosmos. A few years ago, Dr. John Stack, Dean of the Green School of International and Public Affairs, said, "Dan, I need you to help us with something." And the something was to start a Muslim studies initiative that this community, the Cosmos community, pleaded with our president, Rosenberg, to start at FIU. And it really, community, as I understood it then, put a lot of pressure on the president, and the president, we've come through. You've come through for the Muslim community, and we're very proud of this. So I wanted to thank John and Pedro Bota for the vision that you had, your inspiration to ask me. I'm very humble by this, and I'm just very proud, humble and proud to be here at this moment. I want to thank David Skip, who's been my partner in going out to all of you. I've met with many of you in private, in different forums, public, and we talked about the importance of having this Muslim World Studies Center at FIU as a beacon of light to give a corrective to the horrible version of Islam that is propagated by groups like ISIS and their ilk. And this wonderful civilization and religion, we hope that FIU will be that beacon of life, so that light will be spread not only to this community, but through the nation as well, so that this center will influence public policy and the perception of Islam in the United States and throughout the world. And I'm just humbled to be a part of it. I want to conclude by saying that at one of the events, a person wrote to me and said, "How could you call yourself a Christian?" If you call a Muslim a brother, How could you? If you're a Christian, you cannot call a Muslim a brother. And I wrote back and I said, if I understood my Christian faith to imply that I could not love a Muslim and call him my brother, then I would be forced to stop being a Christian. And then to conclude, in my opinion, one of the highest compliments I ever got from anybody was my friend Wilfredo Amer Ruiz. I don't know if he's here tonight. If Wilfredo, one day we were driving to an event, and unsolicited, he said, Dan, when we didn't have a voice in South Florida on television, you were there speaking for us. And I think that's the highest compliment any human being could get when he, unbeknownst to himself, all the people noticed that he was there where people in need. And I'm just very proud to be side by side, stand side by side with my Muslim brothers and sisters and making this a reality of the center possible. God bless you all. God bless you.
Wow. Powerful. Extremely powerful. Wow. Professor Alvarez, the greatness of FIU. I'm a witness to his humanity and to him being a good man. Professor Alvarez saw Shabir in the hallway when we first arrived, and he says, come here right now, give me a hug. And he gave Shabir a hug. And then he grabbed me, he gave me a hug, and he looked me right in the eyes and he said, you're a blessing. Thank you. But tonight, he's the blessing. Don't you agree? He's the blessing for us all. Wow. Professor Alvarez, thank you. Thank you. I'd like to make one acknowledgement. We certainly don't want to overlook their accomplishment. Every great deed begins with an idea, and oftentimes it's either at Starbucks, the idea is talked about. I thought that was funny, but anyway, in this case, the idea begins over a kitchen table, and this began at the home of Vivian and Alan Diamond, the idea to begin a World Studies program at FIU. So Vivian and Alan Diamond, if you're at any of the tables where we can see you and I can see you, please stand. Vivian and Alan Diamond. Are you here? Not here? Not here. Okay. Well, let's acknowledge them. For it was in their house that the idea began at FIU. Yes, absolutely. And now for our final award tonight. She is an awesome lady. I cannot hear what she has to say since immigration has been in the news so much. To do the honors of giving our last award tonight to Miss Little is going to be Yasir Balou. He is a board member of Cosmos and a lawyer by trade, corporate and real estate lawyer. Come on up. I know her resume is so long, we don't have the time, but try your best, my man. Let's give it up for Yasir.
Good evening, everybody. Okay, so I know Professor Alvarez, and I'm going to take it up with him afterward that he had to cry on stage before I come on. How can I follow that? Really, it doesn't matter what I say, right? I could give the most elegant introduction, and it still wouldn't matter. That was incredible. So, as some of you know, I'm an attorney, and when I went to, actually, let's do this. How many attorneys in the room? Law students, attorneys, judges, reform lawyers, can you please raise your hand high? We want to see all of them, please. Let's see. Everybody? Okay, so I know what everybody else is thinking. There's too many of us, right? That's too many lawyers in a room of 400 people. So, but one of the lawyers that you will be happy to meet, and I'm certain of it, is Cheryl Little, our keynote speaker for tonight. Cheryl is an incredible attorney. She has done some amazing work, and I'm sure, as Calvin said, her accolades are so long, and her resume is so long that we don't have the time to go through everything today. But suffice it to say, she graduated from the University of Miami Law School in 1985 with honors. Shortly, she's standing right here and now making me nervous. Shortly thereafter, after graduating from law school, she joined the Haitian Refugees, a well-known, award-winning, nationally recognized organization that protects the basic rights of America's immigrants. Cheryl has received numerous accolades and honors. She regularly appears on national media. One more thing though, that most people don't know, and I don't think Cheryl knows either. This is the 8th annual banquet of Cosmos. In 8 years, she is the first woman keynote speaker at Cosmos. That's right. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. Wow, what an evening. We had our dinner not long ago, and I always like to think we put on a great show, but let me tell you, being here tonight is such an honor and such a privilege. And Cosmos does such amazing work. It's just unbelievable. And Khalid Mirza, who's on our board, we're so fortunate to have him. Every time I come to these dinners, I meet people, and inevitably I leave and I'm thinking about them and how exceptional they are. And especially at a time like this, when there's so many challenges that communities like this face. I can tell you that I remember following the tragic events in 9/11, when countless immigrants, including many, many from the Middle East, no longer felt welcome in the only country they called home. Muslim communities saw members arrested, thrown in detention without charges. They were treated oftentimes extremely harshly, placed in solitary confinement, secret court hearings. On the eve of the war with Iraq in 2003, DHS rolled out Operation Liberty Shield. What did that do? Asylum seekers who weren't suspected of having ties to terrorists, who weren't a flight risk, were being indefinitely detained throughout their entire case. So while we were declaring the need to find liberty and make sure that Iraqis had liberty, people fleeing countries in desperate need of protections were being denied liberty. We saw countless families after 9/11 who had no idea where their loved ones were. And I'm just going to read something from one of them. He said, "Although before I felt like I belonged here, suddenly it felt like other people started talking at me and seeing only where I come from, not the person I am. I felt like I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't know what my religion was anymore. I started to feel ashamed of my background. I stopped going to mosque and I stopped speaking Arabic in public because I didn't want to have any problems. I didn't fly anymore because I didn't want to be singled out because I'm Muslim." I heard countless stories from immigrants in detention who loved their religion, who wanted so much to be a part of the country they loved, and who were being treated like terrorists. So many of those people were fleeing countries because they needed the protection that our laws claim they were entitled to. We continue to get lots of calls from people. There was a special registration program many of you may remember. Males 16 years of age and older from, quote, high-risk countries were required to have their fingerprints, their photos taken, and be questioned by authorities on a regular basis. By the end of September 2003, over 280,000 young males had registered. Many of them were trying to see if they could move to Canada. Many people who work in law enforcement, often in very high positions, were very concerned about what was going on and actually pushed back. And I remember one of them was the head of counterterrorism for the CIA chief, and he said, "The idea that you stigmatize whole classes of people and profile them because you think this is going to prevent the next terrorist attack is exactly the wrong way to go about it." And I will say, with respect to the FBI, we have a program, we represent survivors of human trafficking. We work very closely with the FBI. I have a lot of good things to say about them. I just want to make that very clear. After 9/11, I thought, never again would we make the same mistakes that we made after 9/11. Doing things that made us less safe, not more safe. But here we are. And since the election, we've seen a crackdown on immigrants like I have never seen, and I've been doing this for almost 30 years. And once again, our Muslim brothers and sisters in the crosshairs. Shortly after Trump took office, there was an executive order attempting to derail our refugee program, banning countless Muslims from entering and turning away folks in desperate need of protection. We've seen a drastic reduction in the number of refugees being admitted to the United States. Under Obama, we admitted 110,000 refugees a year. Now, 45,000 are going to be admitted in 2018, the lowest number since 1980. And those who are admitted are undergoing enhanced scrutiny. Okay, there's no question about it. And we're targeting refugees from 11 nations. 10 are Muslim majority countries that made up 44% in 2017 of refugee admissions to the United States. I asked a local lawyer here recently what he thought about what was going on. By the way, I'm having real trouble seeing my notes, but anyway. And he said he's never seen anything like this. He said, when you can't trust your government to protect you, who can you trust? And I think that's a huge problem. Without a single brick, the wall is effectively being built. There's no question about that. Through executive orders, through arrests, through detentions, through deportations. Each month, our government is chipping away at the fundamental laws and policies that guarantee due protection in this country. Each week, there are new hurdles for immigrants and advocates working to help them. We are constantly reevaluating our strategies to try to determine what cases we need to prioritize that week, who should we spend the precious resources we have trying to help. And it's not the bad hombres who are being arrested. In the first 3-4 months of this administration, arrests of non-criminal immigrants went up 150%. Florida had the fastest growing rate of immigrant arrests, 76% this past year. When we go to places like the Broward Transitional Center, they're filled with immigrants who've lived here for years, worked hard, paid taxes, have U.S. citizen children, and broken no criminal laws. Don't go near a Greyhound bus station, because chances are, if you don't have papers to prove you're here legally, you will end up in a place like BTC and be deported. Under President Obama, and even to some extent under President Bush, the priorities for removal were new arrivals and folks with criminal history. Under this administration, All undocumented immigrants are priorities for removal, all. And anyone who arrived in the last 2 years, anywhere in the United States, is a priority for expedited removal. 900,000 people in this country who were not deemed priorities for removal have been able to check in with ICE officials every year, and they would say, okay, we'll see you in a year. Now you can go get your work permit, and move on with their lives. Even people like our lucha clients, survivors of domestic violence, for example, who have pending visas, who are eligible for visas to stay here, can now be told, well, that visa's not going to be eligible for 3 or 4 years, so go back home and wait for it. We'll let you know when you can return. And then we have roughly 1 million people who've been living here with quasi-legal status, like our dreamers. 800,000 dreamers, just amazing kids who did nothing wrong and everything right, now find it hard to sleep at night, now wonder if that job they have they're going to lose, now wonder if they have to return to a country that they've never called home because so many of them arrived here at such a young age. They've been in a emotional roller coaster. The first DREAM Act was introduced in 2001. In 2010, there was a bill that would have helped them, but it failed the Senate by 5 votes. In 2013, there was a bipartisan comprehensive immigration reform bill that included the DREAM Act, which would have helped them, and passed the Senate. Everything I heard was there were enough votes to pass the House, but it wasn't even brought to the floor. And now today, even though our president at one point looked like he really wanted to help these kids, thank goodness for the federal courts, I'll say that, because thanks to the federal courts, these kids can still apply to have their DACA renewed, but until the federal court ruling, 22,000 kids were losing 2,200, kids were losing their status a day. It's remarkable to me that in a country like the United States of America, that prides itself in being the beacon of hope for refugees and people in need of protection, is behaving the way we are today. We also have roughly 300,000 immigrants who've had temporary protected status for upwards of 20 years. Persons from El Salvador, Nicaragua, Haiti, they've been told to pack their bags. They have businesses, they work in our hospitals, they take care of our elderly, our loved ones, they're our nannies. And recently, when our president referred to the countries they're from as a word I won't speak, it reminded lawyers that, well, the decision to end TPS surely wasn't made for the right reasons. It was a racist decision, and so it's being challenged. Even legal immigrants, even legal immigration is at risk. Unless you have a good job prospect. Family reunification, we hear this administration talk all the time about chain migration. We're talking about US citizens wanting to petition for their parents, wanting to petition for their siblings, want to petition for other immediate family members. This is why when the president was talking recently about DACA and doing something for the Dreamers, and he said, but we really have to put an end to chain migration, many Dreamers were saying, I don't want something that's going to help me if it's going to hurt my parents. unaccompanied minor children, fleeing some of the most dangerous countries in the world, Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador, fleeing vicious gangs. They're now being used as bait. When they arrive in the border, Customs and Border Patrol asks them information about their families here, their parents here, or other people who are willing to take them in. And then that information is passed to immigration, and then immigration knocks on the door of that family member and says, well, it's our understanding you're undocumented, please come with me. That's what's happening. This government is also treating these children much like adults these days, de-designating the unaccompanied minor status they have, which gave them special protections. We're even turning people away at the border, not even allowing them to meet with a Border Patrol officer to make a claim for asylum in the United States. The U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services recently, you know what they did? They said, well, you know something? We're no longer going to, these family values things, that's not really so important anymore. And they changed their mission statement. So people sitting in these offices now, waiting to meet with an officer who's going to make a decision as to whether or not they're able to become a U.S. citizen and achieve the American dream, are looking at the mission statement in the wall and knowing that this doesn't bode well for them. The 2018 fiscal year budget that has been, that this administration wants, calls for $4.5 billion to deal with, quote, illegal immigration, a 66% increase in detention, 51,000 immigration beds filled daily, an additional 1,000 ICE agents, an additional 5,000 Border Patrol agents. Immigration judges are being told that they need to close more cases. They need to hear more cases. They're already completely overwhelmed. Dana Marks, who's the president emeritus of the National Association of Immigration Judges, said, immigration judges hear death penalty cases in a traffic court setting. Children are the most vulnerable. We have about 6 million children under the age of 18, U.S. citizen children, living with an undocumented parent or family member. In December, the president of the United Teachers of Dade County said that her 8-year-old comes home every day talking about some of his classmates who are terrified that their parents are going to be deported. This is what's happening in our community. And as I said, the Citizenship and Immigration Services, no longer does that mission statement say we are a nation of immigrants. Florida is now number 2 in the country for hate crimes. 66 hate groups in Florida, 4 in Miami-Dade County. I'm wrapping up now. Almost 11 million immigrants are without permanent legal status in this country. They're doing jobs that are desperately needed, and they've been building their lives here. Congress's failure to pass comprehensive immigration reform has left our broken immigration system shattered. It's leaving families without basic protections, and it's neglecting the critical role that immigrants play in our economy. I want to end on a positive note. The Gold Star father, Kazir Khan, was the keynote at was honored at our dinner a couple of years ago. And he ended by saying this: when we see our basic values are being violated, we need to stand up, we need to speak out, we need to protect one another. Looking at the Cosmos family, the friends, the supporters here, I have no doubt that working together, we will see better days. Thank you.
The one and only Cheryl Little.
So in the article, he was talking about American exceptionalism, and it's a contested term, obviously, because we're in the middle of Let's Make America Great Again. And it got me thinking about what is it that makes America unique and special? And right now, we're in the midst of a populist culture where you have issues such as immigration, patriotism, freedoms, liberties, military expansion, and media, and now, of course, gun laws are at the forefront. But I think one thing that we would agree about this country that makes it so amazing is that we have a very powerful and distinct confluence of culture, government, and economy. And we have a moral imperative, a personal responsibility, virtues that actually tame the wild horses of capitalism and materialism and all of these things. And this is what has led the United States to be a world leader today. And one of the most amazing things, because I'm the daughter of immigrants from Pakistan, but one of the most amazing things is that when an immigrant leaves their homeland to come to the United States, they're recognizing that there's something in this country that affords them an opportunity that they don't have in their birth country. And that is an affirmation of the American dream. And so, which is why slamming the door on immigrants, on hopeful, hardworking immigrants, is not exceptional, and why berating the media when our free press and most talented journalists, such as Mindy, are working really hard to unveil truths to make us better people, to make us conscientious people, that's not exceptional. And also ostracizing people based on religion and ethnicity and neglecting the amazing commonalities that we have in culture and religious tradition. And that's not exceptional, and it's not acceptable. So at Cosmos, what you've heard today are some of the beginning steps, initiatives, in aligning ourselves with like-minded people that want to make this community and this country a better place. But we have our work to do. We have our work cut out for us. We have a lot of hearts to open and a lot of minds to enlighten. But I think that with the spread of showing that Islam, the true Islam in terms of a normative tradition, is something that breeds tolerance and is part of bettering this community for the common good. And I wanted to just end with a tradition of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. He once said that, he was telling a group of his companions that shall I show you, if you will not enter paradise until you believe, and you will not believe until you love one another. And he said, shall I tell you something, that if you did, you would love each other? And he said, spread peace between yourselves. And so with that, I would like to say that let's spread peace together and grow in love. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. Let's give it up for it. That's called focus and determination. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for coming this year. We'll see you at the 9th Annual Appreciation Dinner, and I'll see you tonight on Local 10 News after the Oscars. Have a great night.